sports fans. Welcome into a new episode of The Leaderboard here on WTOL 11+.
Yeah, as always, we're your home for what's happening right now in sports across our whole area. I'm Tyler Seggerman.
And I'm Noelle Blumel. Coming up on this week's episode of The Leaderboard, football in the summertime. See some recent high school grads take the field one last time.
And speaking of high school football, I talked with a local athlete who is racking in the offers all before his junior year of high school. Meet Reed Gherkin.
Plus, we talked with former World Series pitcher Jon Niese this week about what Northwest Ohio baseball means to him.
Plus, we tour the Legacy, a true piece of golf paradise right here at home. Let's jump in.
It's that time of year when students are gone for summer break, and for seniors, a new chapter of their life is on the horizon. A lot of emotions can come with the reality of leaving high school behind, but football coaches in Michigan have made a tradition that gives recent graduates a memory they'll never forget.
Picked up by number 2 Clement from Tecumseh.
On Friday night in Adrian, the annual All-Star game between Monroe and Lenawee County kicked off.
June football. It's going to be hot, but you can't beat it.
A battle of the counties. The teams consist of players from different schools in Lenawee teaming up against those in Monroe. But why football in the summer?
You know, they get to put the pads on one more time, and you think, back in October, November, that's going to be it. And so, for that, they get 4 days of practice, right? It's quick, and they get to play a game, which never happens in your entire life.
Nominated by their coaches to play in the game, it ends with coaches awarding an MVP from each team.
I think I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life, getting this MVP trophy. It's something I've always dreamed of. And I just want to thank all my coaches and everyone for always believing in me. And I feel like I deserve this, and I put in the work for it.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I mean, there's probably 25, 30 kids on our team, and there's probably 50 or 60 that were in our county that could have played. But, I mean, only 25 to 30 get selected, and I was lucky to be one of them.
While the players come for a momentary last night on the gridiron, they end up leaving with something permanent.
Just watching, different schools where they're your rivals, right? You don't like them during the season, and now they're becoming best friends.
The best way to explain it is it was weird at the beginning, but now that we kind of had that week, it was like these are some of my great friends now. Like, I've known them for maybe a week. So, I mean, it's obviously a life experience that only comes once, and honestly, I'm very thankful for it.
And Tyler, I know you got to cover this event last season when Monroe came out with the win. Monroe also came out on top again this year, but obviously this game is so much more than the score and winning.
Absolutely, and it's really cool. You just saw it at the end of that package you put together. The fact that they get to make friends at practice in July when, a lot of kids are getting ready for college or having other things on their mind, it's really cool that they get to come together and play football one last time, get to meet some new people. And the plays that I saw in those highlights, Noelle, too, I mean, those were some good plays, especially when they just put on the pads a week ago.
They were good plays. There were a lot of interceptions, but to your point of just the friendships, they said the dynamic was a little weird at first, but now they have friends who they can connect with on social media that they wouldn't have had before, that they'll probably have for the rest of their life. So a really cool experience there.
Absolutely. And I remember when they did it last year, because you mentioned obviously they've been doing this, but it's kind of a new format. Last year it was like 95 degrees. So putting on pads in the middle of July in Michigan is not something you see normally, but it was pretty good for you last week?
Yeah, I didn't have the pads on, so I can't really speak to the heat or the weather and everything, but I'll take sun over rain in November any day.
I gotcha. Well, speaking of, let's cross over the state border, shall we? But sticking with high school football, Perrysburg has a stud by the name of Reed Gherkin, who stands 6'5" and weighs 290 pounds. Yes, best part, he just finished his sophomore season. Yeah. And turns out he likes putt-putt as well, so I caught up with him to talk recruitment. Take a look. All right, well, let's grab our equipment. I imagine you're going to go tall because you're obviously pretty big. So you're going green.
Yeah.
I'm going to go black here. I'm going to go orange. That's my lucky number.
I'll go lavender.
Lucky color, rather. So there we go.
Oh, no. Actually, no, I'll take the slope.
Get in the hole. Ooh. Recruiting is always fascinating. You've got 11, I think, D1 offers now. First one came from Miami last spring. Last one came from West Virginia just last week. Just how cool has this experience been, getting these offers from big programs?
It's been awesome. Honestly, a few years ago, I didn't even know where football was going to take me. So for me to, even just get an offer as a freshman and kind of seeing where this thing's gone, it's been so much fun.
There we go. I got a hill to deal with here, so Yep. A lot of kids your age get these offers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of excitement. Why do you
Yeah.
feel like there's still something to prove?
Honestly, it's always kind of just been in my nature just to keep working, and I know I can do better, and there's still things to improve upon in the future. So once I make those little tweaks and those corrections, I'm excited to see what can come in the future. Oh! Oh!
All right. I did not think that was
Oh
going to
my
go
gosh.
in. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess I get to add my name to the board. When did you hit your growth spurt? Were you always an offensive lineman growing up? Or?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
well, flag football is always the center just because that's
Yep.
what I had to play. And then as I got older, I just kept getting bigger, and then I didn't really stop. And then about 8th grade going into freshman year is kind of when I hit my 3-inch
Okay.
growth spurt. I went from 6'2" to 6'4 and a half.
There you go. All right. Well, there you have it. How'd you feel?
Good.
Yeah.
I wish I would have put it a little better, but it was a beautiful day.
That's all right. Yeah, we enjoyed ourselves. It's great getting to know you more, talk about some of your recruitment. Obviously, do it while participating in your favorite hobby here this summer. Anything else you want to add or share just about the upcoming season?
Yeah, I'm just really excited. We're going to put on a show this year, and we're going to do what we do.
Absolutely. Again, Reed Gherkin, just going to be a junior this upcoming season. His Perrysburg Jackets open up the season August 22nd at home against Bowling Green. SEC, ACC, Big 12, and the MAC are all interested in this young man. Still has 2 more years to play in high school, which is crazy to think about. And yes, Noel, that is my first hole-in-one at that course.
I guess just the longevity of my career in the big leagues, that was something I was very proud of. Unfortunately, I got hurt. My injury kind of ended my career, but I was fought as long as I could.
From the ball fields of Defiance to the bright lights of the big leagues. Up next, we catch up with Jon Niese, the former Mets pitcher whose journey took him to the World Series and brought him right back home to Northwest Ohio. His story coming full circle just ahead.
And it's a local link-style course with one unforgettable hole. We take you to the Legacy in Ottawa Lake, where a true island green is just one of the reasons golfers keep coming back.
From the ball fields of Defiance to the biggest stage in baseball, Jon Niese lived a dream so many young athletes chase. Now he's back home in Northwest Ohio, helping give back to the game that gave so much to him. Here's Dan Cummins on how his story comes full circle.
I played baseball since I was 5 in T-ball. And 5 and 6 played T-ball, 7 and 8 played Bunny League in Defiance, and then played Little League all the way up to 12, and then just played and then got through high school in Defiance, and then was drafted.
Defiance baseball played a big role in shaping Jon Niese, and so did the coaches behind the program.
Coach Held, Coach Weaver, those two worked great together. They held us accountable. We worked hard, very disciplined there, and just played the game the right way. And Coach Held seemed to get the best out of all of us.
Draft day was one of those unforgettable moments. Niese was at home, surrounded by friends and family, and plenty of nerves.
You got a million different people telling you where you're going to be drafted, what pick you're going to be, and so after the first few rounds go by and you're not picked, I'm like, oh man, am I even good enough?
Then came the call and a surprise voice on the line.
Then I get a call from my agent, and they said, the Mets are really interested in you. They're thinking about taking you in the 7th round, and they were going to offer you this much money. It's like, would you be interested? I'm like, yeah, let's go. So, but yeah, it was very exciting, when I got that call, and I think the first call I got from the Mets was from Gary Carter, so introducing me, because he was my first manager in pro ball.
From there, the grind began. Niese entered the minors as a teenager, quickly learned what pro ball was really like.
Dealing with a lot of personalities, a lot of teammates from different countries, so a lot of different cultures. But it was fun. I was always a guy that I got along with everybody. So, it was definitely a learning experience.
When he finally made his major league debut, it all hit him.
Both teams were in the middle of a playoff hunt. So, there was close to 50,000 fans there. So it was kind of a eye-opener. And it's like they called me up and I had a day, so I got to sit in the dugout for the first game before my start the next day. So just kind of sitting there, taking it all in, it was pretty incredible.
He spent nearly a decade in the majors, even started in the 2015 World Series for the Mets.
I guess just the longevity of my career in the big leagues, that was something I was very proud of. You know, unfortunately I got hurt, my injury kind of ended my career, but you know, I was fought as long as I could.
Back in Defiance, Niese shared the spotlight with fellow future Major League Baseball pitcher Chad Billingsley, and that competition pushed him.
Chad got a start, and there was all these professional scouts there, college coaches recruiting, and fortunately I got to pitch after him that day with everybody there. And I just remember Coach Held telling me that, you know, and I pitched pretty well. I mean, I wasn't lighting up the radar gun, but, you know, there was potential. I was a sophomore. So, you know, I just remember Coach Held telling me, you know, that all those, the pro scouts and the college coaches were asking about me, and, you know, thought that I had a lot of potential and a bright future. And it's kind of one of those things that helped boost me along, you know, and to keep working harder.
These days, Niese is back home, giving back to the program that shaped him.
Just the way that their program is, you know, Coach Weaver obviously, you know, took over a great program, and he's continuing the tradition. And, you know, anything I can do there to help, I will, just because I know how important it is to develop young players.
And as for why he chose to come back,
my wife is from Oregon, so yeah, obviously I wanted to stay with her, and she wanted to stay here, and I have family up here in Northwest Ohio, so you know, it's just a great place to raise a family.
From the Little League Diamonds of Defiance to the World Series mound and right back home again, Jon Niese's story has come full circle.
Yeah, well, a full circle journey for a multifaceted person. In his free time, Niese owns and operates a double play hunting preserve. It's a high-end guided hunting experience in Athens County. Set on over 400 acres, his preserve offers whitetail, elk, bison, and ram hunts, all with luxury lodging and expert guides. How's that for a fun fact?
Pretty cool, yeah. A lot of animals there. I like it. Well, that'll bring us to our leaderboard poll of the week. Now, last week we asked you, do you agree with the OHSAA's decision to reduce the number of teams for football playoffs?
And our options were simply yes, I agree, or no, I don't.
And the winner was an overwhelmingly yes, with 3/4 of you agreeing with the OHSAA's decision. Now, a reminder, if you forgot, there will now be only 12 teams advancing from each region to the playoffs. That is down from 16 in past years, and obviously that was pre-COVID is the reason they decided to add more teams. A lot of people actually wanting them to do more and go back down to 8.
8, yeah, and selfishly, I think we kind of agree with that decision. I think a lot of the games at times can be throwaways, very lopsided scores with the expansion of the teams, so that also causes some more time for wear and tear on the athletes' bodies. It seems to have kind of more negative effects outside of the actual football being played.
Yeah, and you mentioned obviously the travel as well for those teams having to go play that extra game in the first round. But the interesting part about this too, with this 12-team format, there are now going to be buys in postseason play.
That's right, for the first
top four teams.
Top four teams, that's right.
So that'll be interesting to see.
All right, and from there, that'll bring us to this week's leaderboard poll question of the week. Where is the best place to sit at Fifth Third Field for a Mud Hens game? Your options this week are behind home plate, down the first or third baseline, out in the bleachers with the picnic tables, or up in the Hessman home run alley. We want to hear from you. Vote now and tell us where your favorite seat at Fifth Third Field is. To vote, simply scan the QR code on your screen right now, or head to WTOL.com and find the sports section. We'll have your answer on next week's episode of The Leaderboard.
Some people from Virginia have actually said, like, this would be a $200 course back east.
You've heard of Arthur Hills. He designed golf courses all over the country, but one of his most unique layouts is right here in our backyard. Next on The Leaderboard, hear what makes the legacy in Ottawa Lake stand out. It's a local golf course with a national feel. The Legacy in Ottawa Lake was designed by Arthur Hills, a golf legend who once called Sylvania home. And it's got something no other course in Michigan's Lower Peninsula does, a true island green. We stopped by to see what makes this course so special.
The Legacy was started in 1997. It was designed by Arthur Hills, a very well-known golf architect around the area. Played golf at Michigan State and also got his degree there. He is responsible for quite a few of the more signature courses in the Midwest, especially Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, some in Kentucky, but very well respected, and actually lived in Sylvania until he passed a couple years ago. I think it's pretty unique to some of the others. One, we have the only island hole in the Lower Peninsula. So it is a true island hole, like I said, the only one in the Lower Peninsula. So it's a challenge because there's 3 distinct areas for it. And if you get on the wrong side of the green, it does become a very difficult 2-putt. The biggest challenge, realistically, is getting it on the green in the first place, because when the wind starts blowing out here, because we are a linked style, we don't have much protection from the wind. It's one of the course's defenses. So having to play the wind is one of the biggest things. It's one of the big draws. People always ask if it's their first time here, they're like, what hole's the island hole? And it's like, it's number 8. And it's actually like I said, it's very unique, it's very interesting, and it can play anywhere from as short as 95 yards from the forward tees back to about 160 if you're playing the tips. It is a beautiful finishing hole in my opinion. I think it's awesome, very challenging, especially when you get up to the green. You got a couple of bunkers to protect it, and like I said, the pond on the right for your approach shot as well gets a lot more balls than people think. It goes back to Arthur's design of, you can come out, you can play, sort of conservative and be able to do that, but also if you want to try to score and go low, you're going to bring more trouble in. So you have your options and you can play it multiple different ways, and that's very indicative of a lot of the holes that he's set up. We have everything. We have a full-service restaurant inside. We have leagues. We have a junior league. We have a great short game facility that would be similar to ones you would see at private clubs with actual bunkers and that kind of stuff, along with a full range. And there's really something for everybody. One of the other things we also do here is we have about 12 to 15 weddings a year. We have a chapel on site that overlooks the 18th hole, and there's a nice beautiful pond behind it. After they play for the first time, usually it's like, wow, the greens are great, they're rolling fast. They are very surprised by the quality of the golf course for the price. Some people from Virginia have actually said, like, this would be a $200 course back east.
So my question to you, Noel, that island green, would you be able, how many shots do you think it would take you for you to actually land your ball on the green?
Okay, I don't think golf represents my athleticism. I have never golfed before, but I will say for some reason when it's a still object, my hand-eye coordination goes out the window. So I'll answer that when I get some more reps. How about we make that a deal?
Okay, how about the putting? Because obviously we saw the mini golf
right.
with me and the kid before. Do you feel like your putt-putt game is strong?
Putt-putt is strong.
Okay.
I get to do that a lot more often than actually going 9, 18 holes. Yeah, no, that's a great golf course, honestly. One of my first stories that I did here actually at that golf course was these 2 golfers got an albatross on the same hole just a month apart from each other, which I'm sure you, Tyler, know. It's even rarer than a hole-in-one at times.
Yeah, no, that is impressive. I do remember that story, and that is pretty cool. Yep. So obviously, yeah, well, maybe we can go golfing, and then we can see what our handicaps are. Maybe I lose a lot of balls, so I don't know if we want to do that. But
I'll shag for you. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan. And from there, we'll mention earlier in the show, one athlete got recruited to play at the college level. On Wednesday, we saw another athlete announce his commitment. Anthony Wayne pitcher Jackson Urinovich is continuing his career at Bowling Green State University. Chase Bachman caught up with him after the state championship game in Akron. Here's part of that conversation.
Jackson, man, state champion. What's going through your head right now?
A lot of emotions. Just ready to go back to the hotel. It's like 1 o'clock soon. Time for bed. But honestly, it's just surreal a little bit right now. I haven't really processed it. I'm pretty sure when I go home or go back to the hotel, I'm just gonna be jumping around, wondering how I did it. It's crazy. It's my goal at the beginning of the season. I completed it.
Yeah. Is it almost anticlimactic the way you guys won after so many close walk-offs in this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, we never were scared. I'll tell you that. We're never scared. We knew we were just gonna pull it off at some point. We had runners on base. We just had to do it, and we did it every single time.
You had a terrific, I don't even know what your stats were, but you were obviously doing really well out there. What can you say about how you were feeling out there tonight?
I was feeling loose. The adrenaline was coming. Obviously a little too loose. That fastball was a little wild, but that slider was there. It just felt great.
Yeah. Just what does it mean to be going home tonight to the Anthony Wayne community? You guys would get back. What can you imagine that'll be like?
I cannot wait. I can't wait. There's going to be a lot of people there congratulating us. We did it for our community. They're going to show out. It's going to be a big day.
was actually there at that game that night. 12:23 a.m. when the score went final. He was just dealing on the mound for Anthony Wayne that night, and he and other guys like Eli Donowa would be ones to watch in the Northern Lakes League in the 2026 season.
Yeah, pretty cool. Hopefully we'll see if they can bounce back and maybe go back-to-back.
Back-to-back state trips. First time in program history. That'd be great. Well, now for this week's parent shout-out of the week.
Yeah, this week our athlete is 10-year-old Lucas Wheelings from Perrysburg.
Lucas just helped his team bring home a big tournament win in Mansfield, Ohio. He plays second base, pitches, and holds it down in left field. He's been playing since he was 4, starting with teams around Toledo before finding his stride in Perrysburg. But off the field, Lucas is an honor roll student, a proud big brother to 2 sisters, and get this, his 2 sisters haven't missed a single one of his games. Those are some true fans right there, Tyler.
Yeah.
Lucas's mom tells us he's out there every day working on his game with friends.
I love the words here. I love the Little League baseball highlights because you can only imagine what those highlights do for the fans. Like, we don't get to see the fan reaction a lot of times, but you can only imagine what those parents and those sisters are going through.
I know, it's so nice that his sisters haven't missed a single one of his games. As somebody who grew up with a younger sibling, I don't know if she was always so excited to go to them, just having to be dragged there before she could drive herself, but good memories to build sibling bonds and childhood memories.
Absolutely, yeah. I had a younger brother, but we were only a year apart, so we were always playing together. We never got to like watch each other play, so it was interesting. But my dad and my mom obviously had to go to one game, so that made it easy for them.
Absolutely, yeah, true, that's true.
Well, Lucas, keep grinding. We will keep cheering you on here from WTO 11. Do you have a young athlete in your life? Well, we want you to show them off, whether you're a parent, grandparent, or just the biggest fan on the sidelines. We want to see your favorite youth sports moments, so send us your best photos and videos. Your submissions, just like we saw, could be featured in WTO 11 sports specials and across our social media platforms. And all you have to do is text us your highlights and be sure to include your name, your star's name, and a hometown. The number is on your screen. You can see it. It is 419-248-1100, or you can email us at sports@WTOL.com. He's one of Toledo's top players, and he turned down life-changing money to stay. Coming up here, why Avery Smith said no to massive NIL offers and yes to loyalty, legacy, and the Rockets.
Finally this week, he's a standout quarterback for the Toledo Rockets, and he's had offers, big ones.
Yeah, but despite being offered hundreds of thousands of dollars to transfer, Avery Smith is staying loyal to the program that believed in him first. Take a look at this.
For me, like, I can't leave this. Like, I want to put Toledo on. I want to push Toledo further because they was with me when I was down, and then I feel like everything will fit. You know, it might be that corner, it might be a different play style than you. I mean, Toledo just was low to me when nobody else was. Like, coming out of high school, I played quarterback, and y'all could tell I'm a little shorter than some of y'all. So it wasn't really too many people just recruiting me at all, probably like 4 or 5 schools. In Toledo, they was recruiting me heavy, just like as a person, as a player, and they really believed in me.
Smith says he's focused on the long game of making it to the NFL, not just NIL offers, and says he believes Toledo is the place to make that dream come true.
And not to be left out, a Bowling Green State University football player is going viral, and the reason why, a bit surprising. Take a look here. This is Gideon Lampron, and as you can see, his middle name is ESPN. No, that's not a mistake on BGSU's website. That is legally his name on the birth certificate. Apparently, Lampron's parents originally agreed on his middle name to be Xavier, but his father pulled a fast one, putting ESPN on the paperwork instead. Can you believe that, Noel?
You know, it's funny. I actually saw him in an interview today on Twitter with BGSU Athletics, and he was saying that his dad pulled a fast, like it just said, pulled a fast one on his mom when she wasn't looking, just signed that birth certificate based on what he liked.
So let me do this. Dun-a-nut, nut-a-nut. Got to get that out of the way. Secondly, if your husband did that to you with your son, what would be your reaction?
That would not be okay. That would not be okay.
You would change it immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't even think of what my dad would make my middle name based on what he liked. Maybe Golf, Noel Golf Blumel. What would you be?
Okay, I don't know. Well, see, I go by my middle name, so there's a little secret for everyone.
True.
Yeah.
Well, we'll transition from there.
Yeah, that's going to do it for another great episode of the Leaderboard here on WTO 11 Plus. I'm Tyler Seggerman.
And I'm Noel Blumel. And from our entire WTO 11 team, we'll see you next game.